Just making sure I'm rolling here. All right. What's up, guys? So I wanted to give you a foundational space that you could come back to and you could get familiar with the conversation repeatedly. One of the things that I push all of my sales guys to understand is that you're not just talking at people. You've got to give them some context to what it is that you're saying. So I had a sales guy just this week, and he comes into my office and he says, "Hey, I want to give this guy $25,000 for his truck." I said, "Awesome. 25.5 is my number. Give it to him." So he gave it to him. The customer leaves. Then he came back and I said, "Hey, did he owe anything on that?" He's like, "No, man, he's got title in hand." I'm like, "Call him and tell him you talk to the owner, and the owner has a very specific buyer that will take that truck today as long as he's got the title in hand for 26.5, an extra $1,000." And so my guy goes out, jumps on the phone. "Hey, I just talked to the owner. He'll give you 26.5 for that truck. That offer is good for today only." Now, did he deliver the message? Yeah, he did. He delivered the message, but he didn't frame the game. And so what I mean by framing the game individually, like we have to think micro and we have to think macro. We have to think small and we have to think big picture. So small picture is every exchange that you have to give some context as to why you need what you need, because every relationship you have is a series of deposits and withdrawals. You want to make deposits into the conversation. You want to show your value. You want to show that you care. One of the ways you make deposits into people is by letting them talk, listening to them, asking them questions, learning about them. It's why whenever we do the credit application inside of the selling process, we slow way down. We make it a dialogue. We get to know people. The guy who's standing on the other side of the studio here, who's recording everything, I went through this process with him, changed his life forever. I got to know this dude, and now we became friends. He bought several cars for me. Then he joined the team and came to work with me, and he's here full time. But it all started with that credit application, because during the credit application, I'm asking, "What do you do for a living? Tell me about that." "Oh, wow, that's super fascinating. I want to know about this. I want to know about that." And I build into that. And I'm making all of those deposits so that later when I have a conversation, I can make a withdrawal. And when I make the withdrawal, I do it strategically. You can't just run in the bank, "Give me your money." Like, that doesn't work, right? When you go into the bank, you have to strategically make a withdrawal. You fill out the proper forms. You tell them why you're taking out the money and how much you want, what you need, and they give it to you. Like in your exchanges with other people, you have to do the same thing. This isn't just a selling technique. This is a life technique. When you learn how to frame the game with your wife, like, think about that. Like, and wives, you think about it the other way. If I've got female salespeople here, the way that you frame the game matters. The difference between walking up, taking a bite of something that your wife spent maybe an hour cooking, getting ready for dinner. You walk in the door, she thinks, "Man, he's going to be so excited. He's going to be so considerate. Like, I'm taking the time to make dinner. It's going to be hot and fresh and ready when he walks through the door." You sit down, you take a bite of it and say, "Man, I did not want mac and cheese tonight." Let me tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to shortcut this. No, but what could you have said? You have said, "Sweetheart, man, this is so delicious. Well, my stomach's been feeling a little weird lately, and I think it's because of all the cheese I've been eating. So I'm not going to eat all this mac and cheese, but thank you so much." I see what we just did there. We framed the game. We framed. This is why I'm saying what I'm saying. We help the person to understand and uptake the data. And so a really brilliant sales model, and this is why Frame the Game's the number one video I want you to watch first. A really brilliant sales model frames not just on the the small, it frames on the macro. In other words, a good sales process, a good sales machine, a good dealership like Mag Auto, we frame the entire game. When you show up, everything that I'm telling you that I want you to dig into and memorize as far as the script standpoint goes, it's because on the other side of this process, we've built a machine that allows the customer to easily say yes to our products and service. And so whenever we're going through the scripting, just understand that everything has a reason. Everything has a purpose. Well, the last thing I'll leave here with you is what we call the M&M close. And you remember this inside of 8 Mile, right? The last battle rap scene between Eminem and Papa Doc. Eminem's buddy Cheddar Body was like, dude, what are you gonna say? And Eminem's like, what are you talking about? And he goes, well, like they keep making fun of you and stuff about us. Like, and he's like, oh yeah. And the light goes on in his head, right? He kept getting beat because they kept calling out this stuff. And he's in the moment like, oh, how do I respond? This happens to salespeople every day. Salespeople go out to the, if the thing you're selling is vehicles, you go out to the inventory and the customer says, man, I really don't love this color. Okay, cool. Well, you can't change the color of the car, right? But you still have the right vehicle. It's just the wrong color. So how are you prepared to handle that objection? Or what if it is, man, I really wanted a third seat? What if it is, hey, this thing's got a dent or a scratch, or it's got this, or it's got that. And so by framing the game, by doing what we call the M&M close, it allows us to move into the sale more intelligently, because we've preconditioned the consumer to uptake our exchange whenever they have an objection. And I'll give you an example. Customer walks out. As we're walking out to look at some cars, I just explain, hey, look, here at Munsterman Auto, we don't over condition the cars. In other words, the more money I spend getting a car ready to put on the lot, the more cash a customer has to come in with to buy that car, to get approved for that car. And because we help so many people who've had some bumps in their credit history, if you see something out here that's got a little cosmetic character or a whiskey dent here or there, don't worry about that. We can help alleviate those visual things. We've made sure that the car runs and drives right, that it's going to be dependable mechanically, but we don't always fix all the cosmetic stuff because that sometimes can drive the price up too high and we can't get people approved who would be willing to accept a car with a dent if they could just afford the payment. Does that make sense? Most customers say, yeah, that absolutely makes sense. Cool. And we're walking out and they say, man, I see this thing's got a dent in it. You're like, yeah, remember earlier when I told you? Oh, yeah. Don't worry about that. It's something, if you like the way it drives and, try it on, take it for a drive. If you like the way it drives and handles, we can always work through that. As long as I can take care of that, is this something you think might work for you today? You see what I did there? Like everything's just very fluid. It's very like methodical. And so you have to be methodical in your presentation. So when we're going through the next 2 videos and when you're listening to this, it's learn it my way, practice it verbatim, listen to it again and again and again. I'll get you an audio if you want it. Like, I just want you to uptake this. And if you're watching this and you're not in the car business, you're not one of my salespeople, but you just stumbled into my channel and you're on this video, look, this principle, this selling technique of framing the game and pre-closing and what we call, like I said, the M&M close is valuable no matter what you're doing. So that's all I got for you. Check out video 2 and video 3. The next one we're going to talk about is going to be an internal video only. But guys, I really appreciate you. I want you to go deep on these next 2 videos because they're going to help you sell more cars. Savvy?